What is up, Dallas Cowboys fans? ZD Tim here with a daily blitz for the Fish Report YouTube channel. We want to welcome everybody that has recently subscribed. The subscribership here is increasing dramatically, as I believe we're over 41, almost to 42,000 subscribers here on the channel. We appreciate you guys spreading the word, telling all your friends, all your Cowboys friends about the Fish Report YouTube channel and the Fish Report and Mike Fisher and all of us over here at the channel. We appreciate you guys tuning in multiple times per day as you do to enjoy some Cowboys talk with us. And because that's what we like to do. So certainly coming off a disappointing loss to the Cardinals yesterday. I don't think what anybody expected. But, you know, I don't know why we expected differently is what I'm trying to say. Because the Cowboys really have not been tested all season. Other than, let's see, I'll go down the schedule here. Week 1, certainly a test against Tampa Bay that you lost, you failed. Good showing. We were impressed at the Cowboys' loss, I think, in Week 1. It took a Tom Brady miracle, another game-saving, game-winning drive, right, by Brady at the end of the game to beat Dallas. Then, you know, you thought Week 4 Carolina was a test. They were 3-0 at the time and looked really, really good. Sam Darnold, away from the Jets, looked really, really great. And you thought that might be a playoff preview. And they demolished the Carolina Panthers. So you had to feel good about yourself, thinking that was a playoff team. Then New England, clearly an AFC playoff team. I don't even know that in Week 6 that we knew New England was going to be a good playoff team or a good team this year. But the Cowboys handled up on New England. And really, after Week 6, it's kind of been downhill from there, hasn't it? We'll give the bye week in Week 7, of course, and then Minnesota Week 8, the Cooper Rush game. Cowboys looked good, holding off Minnesota that was thought to be a playoff team. We now know that they're not. And then Dak comes back from his calf injury suffered in Week 6 versus Denver in Week 9 at home on November 7th, and it's been completely downhill since there. So the Cowboys 6-1 after 8 weeks and the bye. You've got a MVP caliber quarterback. You've got a really record-breaking caliber offense. Everything clicking. You've got a defense that you can see is coming into its own, and it's gelling with Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons starring just as they are now late in the season. But that Denver game changed everything. They bounced back with a good win versus Atlanta, but we know who Atlanta is. And then maybe your best test since Tampa Bay in Week 11 at Arrowhead against Kansas City, a game that really a lot of people thought the Cowboys needed to show that they can beat a good team that they hadn't really all year, other than maybe New England. And then, you know, the Chargers looked like a good win. We'll call the Week 2 Chargers a decent win, but at the time, the Chargers is just Week 2. The Chargers weren't the Chargers yet. So Kansas City really owned you, and it was a poor showing by the offense, not a great showing by the defense. And then the next week, Week 12, you've got Las Vegas, a playoff team. They're on the outside looking in right now, but they've still got a shot at making the playoffs in 2021. And then, of course, the cream puff part of the schedule, New Orleans, Washington, Giants, Washington before yesterday, Week 17 against Arizona. This team really needed a good showing to show that it's playoff ready, to show that it can play and compete with the big boys. And right now, I'm not so sure that's the case. I still think this team has a lot of questions internally. I think this team questions itself. I'm not saying there's like strife or arguing between whatever position groups or offensive defense, nothing like that. I don't think that's happening. I just think internally a lot of the offensive players are questioning their abilities. I think that there's some offensive coaches questioning their abilities. Kellen Moore. And you've got a game in which the defense needed to play better than it did to give the offense a chance, and the defense just couldn't. That 15-play, 91-yard drive towards the end of the game that really sealed it for the Arizona Cardinals, that was the most plays and the most yards, second most yards the Cowboys had given up all year on defense in one drive. And I think maybe the defense they just didn't have it yesterday. No turnovers. No real turnover. No interceptions for for Diggs. Parsons had a good game. Parsons was all over the place. And I don't think we questioned the defense's ability to match up against potential NFC playoff teams as much as we do the offense. And, you know, coming into the Arizona game, it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for the Cowboys to show the rest of the league, to show the NFC, to show the national media that has doubts, to shut them up and to say, look, we beat the freaking Cardinals at home. We're champions of the East. Bring on the playoffs. And they couldn't do it. And I think this was a huge reality check for the Cowboys. I think that you even had the Cardinals that were not really firing on all cylinders. Questions have been raised about Kyler Murray's game. They lost 5 of their last 8. They were discombobulated. They were without their best wide receiver, without their best running back, without their best left tackle, and without 2 key starters on defense. And the Cowboys still could not get it done at home. And I think, if anything, this may have raised more questions than given answers for the playoff readiness of this team, because, once again, poor clock management rears its ugly head. There's reckless use of timeouts that just I don't understand. You had a timeout in between a touchdown and a 2-point or a delay of game, in between a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. How does that? I've never seen that before. How does that happen? And then, of course, once again, the untimely penalties. The Cowboys are the most penalized team in the NFL, and it shows. And so I just think the Cowboys are not ready for the postseason, and especially after this loss to Arizona, they're questioning themselves internally. They're questioning their abilities. I think Dak Prescott clearly is still questioning his abilities. He did not have the best game. He didn't have the worst game. But I still see him missing open receivers. Of course, the Washington game made us forget about all of that, right? But consider the level of opposition against Washington, all right? Now you're going into Week 18. The Cowboys can still improve their seeding. Several things have to happen, though. They're stuck in the 4th seed right now. Arizona is the 5th seed. If the playoffs started today, it's Arizona back at AT&T Stadium in round 1 of the playoffs. And I don't know that anybody has any confidence that the result would be any different if they played next week or in 2 weeks. You know, I think this Philly game now becomes your greatest test. Last week against Arizona was your biggest test. You failed. Philadelphia now, that's your biggest test in the last week of the regular season. You need an absolute good showing offensively, defensively against Philadelphia, who could make the playoffs. And you may see Philadelphia in the playoffs. You don't know. So I think this would do a lot for the confidence of the Cowboys, the confidence for Cowboys fans, if Dallas can somehow make a good showing against Philadelphia coming up. And we'll preview that game a little bit later in the week as we get closer. But anyway, just those are some of my scattershooting thoughts about an opportunity missed for the Cowboys. Are they a contender? Or are they a pretender? I'll tell you what, they're not a contender right now. Not the way they played yesterday on Sunday. Not the way they played recently through the last 2 months of the season. 100% pretender until they can prove us differently, and they can prove us wrong, and they can do something different to show us that's not the case. Right now, they're pretenders. And you will never convince me otherwise, the way they're playing now, until they can do it on the field. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm IndyCar Tim. Appreciate you guys joining the channel, watching the program here, and joining, subscribing. Fish appreciates it, so we all appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you.